popping, more science. And them brothers from El Reno, man, they just started surrounding me like I was Farrakhan.
Remind me, what units did you serve on? What units did you move to? Where were you serving your time at?
Okay, so I went to Cook County first for attempted murder at 14. Got out of that bush, went to Milwaukee, went to Wales, went to St. Charles and all these little places you go to in Milwaukee. Then I went to Green Bay. That's Gladiator School. That's where the real prison wall, they got a wall, 60-foot wall you behind, you got real cells. So I went there and that's where I got my, I really got my, I was a good boxer. I got my reputation in Wales. But by the time I got to Dodge, this one day, he was about 6'2", built like a diesel. He walked up to me, man, God was with me. I threw 2 punches and knocked him out.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? In front of the whole child hall. This is
straight for the chin, or what you?
I hit him right here. You know, so my dad always said hit somebody in the chin. So the nigga, he hit the floor, and there's another place called House Correction. I whooped a few up in there, and then when I whooped that nigga, you know what I'm saying, I knew I wasn't having it. But then I had about 2 or 3 more fights up in that motherfucker. That's why I got stabbed right here with a shank. Nigga stabbed me in New York. He stabbed me.
What was that situation?
We was gambling, and I beat him out of, about $1,000. He was doing life. So I took all his CDs. They used to have cassette players. I took all his cassette players. I took all his cigarettes. I won all this shit. And, I was young, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, man, I need my shit back. I said, nigga, woo, woo, woo. So we went to the mop room. That's what they call it. We got the boxes. So I'm drilling the nigga. I'm all on top of him. And all I felt was blood coming out. But I didn't know where the blood was coming. I thought it was coming from him. But the blood was dripping out my chin. He caught me with the shank. So I seen the shank in his hand. Then, I kicked him and walked away because I was bleeding like a hog. You know what I'm saying? And, that was, I whooped him. Then I had a fight with one of my other guys. Me and him knew each other on the street. I was saying that his partner snitched on me. He was arguing that he didn't snitch, so we got a little fight. And then after that, I had no more drama, man, in the prison that was Green Bay. Then I went to Calamarine. I just started taking nigga shit, you know what I'm saying? So I took this one little, he had a gold chain, they let you wear gold up, I took his chain, you know what I'm saying? And my brother was there, he was selling weed, my brother JD, so he had the whole compound on lock, you know what I'm saying? So I was in heaven there, you know what I'm saying? We had all kind of Zuzus and Wham Whams, and all the old niggas, they liked us because we were some players. Then I got out of that shit. Then I went to the feds. So when I went to the feds, I almost got killed because I didn't understand the politics of the feds. I thought it was like the state, you whoop a couple niggas and over, but the feds is clicked up. So I met MCI Memphis, and these, they Moorish Science Temple, right? And they, what's the nigga name? Cole Eel. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he from St. Louis. Gary, Indiana. He running all the niggas. Then this other nigga, he from DC. My homeboy, Penitentiary Sam, old nigga been in jail all his life. He tell me, he said, Ken, fuck with the moles. I'm like, man, fuck with them niggas, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't fuck with them niggas. What the fuck them niggas is? So Ross Bay, also one of the leaders of it, he said, man, come on, mess with us. So I ain't paying no attention. I thought it was just a bunch of clowns, you know what I'm saying? These niggas some suckers, right? But, what I'm saying? I've been in the penitentiary. I mean, I was cold with my hands. So I won't worry about it. So I'm on the phone, and niggas said, get off that phone. To me, that's an instant fight. Because, you know what I'm saying? I mean, now you're challenging my manhood. I got to fight this. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no other choice. I gotta fight this. We in MCI Memphis, we in Chicago. And Penitentiary Sam, one of my daddy's friends, been in jail all his life, put me to the side and said, man, them niggas finna kill you, man. I said, for what? I said, that whole ass nigga, woo woo. He said, bro, don't say that. It's a religious organization. So he called me, he took me over to Ross Bay. I'm sitting down with Ross Bay. We sitting on the bunk and we talking. And, you know, I'm listening to him and he's like, man, woo, woo, woo. He said, man, you ain't got no wins up in here, man. He said, but Sam like you though, man. He said, you know, we Sam one of our Mo brothers. I said, say, man, you know, man, I appreciate it. I said, what is this shit y'all talking about, man? What is the Moorish sign simple? So he broke it down to me, and I liked it. You know what I'm saying? So I started attending their meetings. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I stayed in MCI Memphis for 6 months. So they ended up indoctrinating me into their movement. And then so when I get to the other prison, Rochester, Minnesota, they don't have no more sign simple, but it's a brother named Brown Eel. He breathed on me. He gave me the wisdom, right? Then he hooked me up with Sister Christina Price Bay, was Prophet Noble Drew Ali's secretary, who was the founder of the organization, and she breathed on me. So I started the first temple chapter in Rochester, Minnesota. And you know what I'm saying? I ended up getting to 200 members. The warden put me in his cell, or put me in his office, say, sir, you're too influential. We got to move you. So they moved me from Rochester to Oxford. Now I get to Oxford, that's Milwaukee. That's all my homeboy. You know what I'm saying? But I'm with this more science temple shit. I'm loving this shit, right? It's some good game in it. So I gets to there and I hook up with the brothers and I get off into that. You know what I'm saying? I had already set the chapter. So I ended up setting up, you know, and hooking up everything up there at Oxford. And then I got all my homeboys to come and join the Moorish Science Temple. Yeah. So I never had no problems in the feds. I was always the grand sheik, the leader of that organization. You know what I'm saying, man? And so when I got too big for Oxford, they moved me again to Memphis. Now they moved me to El Reno. So I got to El Reno, that's a prison. They tried to get me killed. They threw me on the yard, like niggas gonna kill me, you know what I'm saying? But you know, this is how we do it. This is more science, you know what I'm saying? We do it like that. So I seen some brothers, you know what I'm saying, who had the kufis on. And I threw up the more science sign. And the brothers like, well, they said, Islam Mo? I said, Islam Mo, Islamism. So we got to chopping it up. And then we went to, they invited me to the meeting. And I spoke. I speak so well because, you know, like I said, I was taught by the Prophet's secretary. You know, this was a long time ago, but she was from 1913, you know, in 1930. Yeah. So she was an old lady, but she had all the wisdom. Yeah. So I got up there and I'm popping the game. I'm popping, you know, more science. And them brothers from El Reno, man, they just started surrounding me like I was Farrakhan. I swear to God, I can't make this up. And they like, man, this brother here got to be protected. He got the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So that was easy. Then they kicked me out of that. And then they sent me to Memphis, MCI Memphis. The St. Louis brothers and the St. Louis and the DC brothers at odd. Brother in Lynch Bay was running the DC. And another brother, I can't remember his name, but he was from St. Louis. He was running St. Louis. That was the Jerry Lewis Bay clique. Brother named Jerry Lewis Bay had some Moors on the street. Yeah. So I ended up bringing them brothers together. Dr. Williams Bay from DC. Lynch Bay, I got all them brothers together and they made me the Grand Sheik. Yeah. Yeah, so I held that down until I got out of prison. And I had no fight. So I had two incidents in the Fed. One dude named Kelly Rooks, you know, I don't know if he's still living, but he was an old Chicago. Me and him was running the gang, you know, we was hustling up in the prison, you know. We were trimming the white boys in poker. And me and him got into it about some money, and me and him had a little box. You know, I tapped him up a little bit. He was an older man by my standards. I was in my 20s. He was 40-something. And then I slapped the white boy for taking change the TV off of BT. So I had no problem. My prison. That's why I read a lot of books. You know, went to college, and then my prison time was real smooth.
Man,
you know,
that makes it smooth.
Yeah.
And then joining the religion, that makes sense. Now, you were speaking on a dude that you said you had full, when you looked at him, you know, the dude was working out buck, masculine, tall.
Oh, yeah.
And then he came in, he actually told y'all. Like,
that nigga was in Memphis. Yeah, that was a Crip.
Yeah, Crip. And he came in.
And I told him I cut his motherfucking heart. I said, I'll fuck you up. And he was about 6'6", He had muscle, but it was me exercising courage that made him back down. You know, I didn't show no fear.
I mean, the one that came out and said he was gay. I'm talking about that one. I don't know which. He was speaking on it downstairs, of course, where.
Oh yeah, you talking about what's his name? Roger, the homeboy. That was in Oxford in the federal joint. So he came. We had like Milwaukee. They all come and we hang, we give each other, toothpaste and all that. Get nigga a care package. So dude got turned out by another dude, and when he came on the yard, he said, "Man, I'm gay." We looked at the nigga like, "You what?" Like this was kicking all the gang. We was walking around this. He said, "I'm gay." He said, "I'm gonna tell y'all before y'all hear about it." Just what's up, man? Me, Reggie, Seahorse. We was just looking at the. We had another homie, made rest in peace, named Orbit. Actually, Orbit is. I ended up having a baby by his sister, so he's my baby. I got in prison. I got with his sister. So yeah, man, we seen that. Man, I forget the other day. I think it started with an R, but I can't get his name. But the flipped out on this man, and that was amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was amazing because I heard about it, and you be in prison, you mind your own business. Yeah. But to actually see somebody get flipped, you know what I'm saying, without any aggression or violence, he just flipped out that way. I said he had to be that way all the time.
He's a guy, I believe you were saying, physically you would think that he's straight and narrow. And then he came out and told y'all what it was.
Yeah. You talking about the pimp dude?
No, I'm talking about the one that was in the Milwaukee car that came and told y'all like, "Hey, I'm gay."
That was a homie from Philly.
Okay. How does that work in that car after he comes in?
You talking about in the prison?
Yeah.
So
how does that work?
So the way that worked was we liked it, this dude. We walked the yard together. So it was first we were stunned. And by me being a religious guy and being the leader of this shit, I had to, of course, walk a thin line. I couldn't say, man, f that. And man, I was just like, man, the brother going through something. You know what I'm saying? He got some issues. And Reggie, he was a Nation of Islam. And Seahorse was Nation of Islam. And Orbit was Nation of Islam. So we was all Muslims. I was a Moorish American. So we kind of like, we didn't take it like, F the brother, nothing like that. We just whatever. And then Reggie, they was cool. So Reggie was trying to, talk them, some sense into him. But, he just went on about his business and we just kind of like, you kind of fade away because you don't want to be associated. Because one of the things about the prison, I'm saying, if you associate with that stuff on any level, the guards will put you in a certain dorm. So you can't be into that shit and be in regular population. If they see you vibrating on that level, they'll put you in a whole nother dorm. Yeah. Even if you, the male part of it, you know what I'm saying? It's low tolerance in the feds for that type of shit. Yeah. So everybody that's identified with that shit, you get put in a dorm and everybody, they assume, it's like a psychological thing. You get a dorm with nothing but people of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So you get labeled that way. So a lot of dudes, if they got life, they never come home, they like to be in that dorm.
Okay, that.